In an era defined by struggle and division, one woman's journey would not only redefine beauty, but would ignite a revolution of self-reliance for an entire generation. This is the story of how an orphan daughter of former slaves, armed with little more than grit and a vision, rose from the cotton fields of Louisiana to become America's first self-made female millionaire. Her name was Sarah Breedlove, but the world would come to know her as Madam C.J. Walker, the queen of a hair care empire built from the ground up. Her life is a powerful testament to the idea that circumstance does not dictate destiny, and that from the deepest hardship can spring the most profound success. Madam C.J. Walker's journey began steeped in a poverty and uncertainty that would have broken most. Born in 1867, on the same Louisiana plantation where her parents had once been enslaved. She was the first in her family to be born into freedom, a freedom that was fragile and fraught with peril. But this newfound liberty was quickly overshadowed by tragedy. By the tender age of 7, Sarah was an orphan, having lost both of her parents. She moved in with her older sister and brother-in-law, where she later recounted being subjected to cruel treatment. To escape this harsh environment, she made a decision that was all too common for young women of her time seeking stability. She married at just 14 years old. This early marriage brought her a daughter, Lelia, who would become her lifelong companion and business partner, but the marriage itself was short-lived. By 20, Sarah was a widow, left alone to raise her young child in a world that offered few opportunities for an uneducated black woman. Life was a relentless series of battles. To support herself and Lelia, Sarah worked as a laundress, a grueling job that paid barely enough to survive. The harsh chemicals used in the laundry, combined with a poor diet and the widespread lack of indoor plumbing and proper hygiene, took a devastating toll on her health. Most distressingly, she began to suffer from a severe scalp condition that caused her hair to fall out in patches. This personal affliction was not just a source of private shame. It was a widespread problem among African American women of the era. The available cures were often ineffective or even harmful, consisting of harsh formulas that did more damage than good. For Sarah, this deeply personal struggle was more than just a problem. It was the seed of an idea, a spark of inspiration born from her own pain and desperation. She refused to accept her fate and became determined to find a solution, not just for herself, but for the countless other women who shared her silent suffering. This quest for a cure marked the beginning of her transformation. Recognizing the immense untapped market for effective hair care products for women of color, Sarah began her mission. She started by learning from her brothers, who were barbers in St. Louis, and worked for a time as a commission agent for Annie Turnbow Malone, another pioneering black woman in the hair care industry. But Sarah was not content to simply sell someone else's products. She had her own vision. In her own kitchen, after her long days of labor, she began experimenting with ingredients, mixing and testing formulas. She combined her knowledge of traditional home remedies with an understanding of scalp health, tirelessly working to create something that would genuinely heal and promote hair growth. Finally, she perfected a formula she called Walker's Wonderful Hair Grower, a scalp conditioning and healing ointment that would become the cornerstone of her future empire. With a product she believed in, Sarah, now married to Charles Joseph Walker and adopting the professional name Madam C.J. Walker, set out to build her business. But her genius was not confined to product development. It was her revolutionary business strategy that truly set her apart. At a time when women, especially black women, were excluded from the world of commerce, Madam Walker created her own system. She didn't just place her products on store shelves. She took her message directly to the people. She traveled across the South and later the entire country, giving demonstrations in churches, lodges, and homes. She understood that selling a product wasn't enough. She needed to teach women how to care for their hair, and in doing so, how to care for themselves. This direct-to-consumer model evolved into a powerful network of Walker agents. She recruited and trained thousands of women, equipping them not just with products to sell, but with a profession. These agents were more than just salespeople. They were beauty culturists and community advisors. Madame Walker provided them with uniforms, training manuals, and a standardized system, empowering them to run their own small businesses from their homes. In an era when the primary employment options for black women were domestic service or farm labor, this was nothing short of revolutionary. She was offering a path to economic independence, a chance for women to earn their own money, support their families, and build a sense of pride and self-worth. Her business was not merely a commercial enterprise. It was a movement of economic empowerment, lifting up thousands of women and their communities along with her. As her empire grew, so did her fortune. Madam C.J. Walker became a self-made millionaire, an almost unimaginable feat for anyone in the early 20th century, let alone an African-American woman who had started with nothing. Her success was visible in the magnificent homes she owned, including a stunning villa in Irvington, New York, designed by a black architect. But her wealth was never just for her own enjoyment. She saw it as a tool, a responsibility, and a platform for change. She became one of the most prominent philanthropists of her time, using her influence and resources to fight for the causes she believed in. She was a fierce advocate for social justice, making significant contributions to anti-lynching campaigns and donating generously to the NAACP, which was then in its infancy. She funded scholarships for students at historically black colleges and universities like the Tuskegee Institute and provided for the construction of community centers and YMCAs in black neighborhoods across the country. Her legacy extends far beyond the jars of hair grower that bore her name. Madam C.J. Walker's life story is a masterclass in entrepreneurship and resilience. She demonstrated how a deep understanding of a market's needs, combined with innovative product design and a groundbreaking business model, could propel an individual from the lowest rungs of society to the very heights of influence and success. She shattered the ceilings of race and gender, proving that with vision and tenacity, anything was possible. Her life was guided by a simple yet profound belief.
I won.
She often shared with others. I am a woman who came from the cotton fields of the South. From there I was promoted to the wash tub. From there I was promoted to the cook kitchen. And from there, I promoted myself into the business of manufacturing hair goods and preparations. I have built my own factory on my own ground. Madam C.J. Walker's journey is a quintessentially American story, a powerful and moving reminder that greatness is not inherited, but forged in the fires of adversity. It's the story of self-reliance, of seeing a need and having the courage to meet it, and of understanding that true success is not measured by what you accumulate, but by how you lift others up as you rise. Her spirit lives on, an enduring inspiration for anyone who dares to dream, to innovate, and to believe, as she did, that they have the power to create their own destiny.